Why the server room isn't an open access area.
I don't think I've posted this one. I'm in the server room, working on a new server that's going live sometime later this week. Just doing those little things that help a server work at its best when it goes live, not buying the BSA. I'm hiding, because I feel like someone beat me with a stick while I slept, and I don't deal well with some people when I hurt this bad. So, I'm hiding in the server room, at my little table, with my KVM bouncing between servers, looking for an issue. I've got my headphones on, an audiobook playing so I don't notice someone coming into the server room. My first hint that I am not alone is eyeballs between two servers. Then I see someone's mouth moving in the form words usually force a mouth to make. I can't hear anything, so I go down to the end of the racks, turn the corner and find myself faced with a manager. Me, yelling, "Hi, you shouldn't be in here." Manager, I, yelling, "I need you to talk to someone about an issue." Me, mouthing, "No. No," which unless you're a lip reader, apparently looks like you're saying okay, then giving him a get out thumb. He looks confused, grins, gives me a thumbs up and leaves the server room. I take out my phone, and I see there are no help tickets from this person, no emails directly from this person, and nothing from his manager. I go back to my little workspace, and I am clearing out temp files on an old server that doesn't know how to tidy up itself. Then I notice one of the servers is off, one that shouldn't be off. I can see the fan sitting stationary. I hit its KVM number, and it gives me no signal from the source. So I hit the ID button and head around front. I pull the faceplate, and turn on the server, then head back around to the back. In the few seconds I take to move back around behind the rack, the server has shut back off. So I do the next thing on the list, unplug the power and push it out so I can pull the top panel to see what's wrong. As I push the server out of the rack, it hits something. I figure it's just the rack door swung partially closed. Some of these racks do that. When I go back around the racks with my trusty step stool, I see manager laid out on the floor, bleeding from a gash on his forehead. I drop the step stool and rush over. His eyes are open and he does appear to be breathing. Me, "Are you alright?" I get no answer. He just looks at me and then back at the server sticking out of the rack. I stick my head out the door and tell whoever is in earshot to call HR and get the first aid kit. Suddenly it's a party. Everyone is gawking in through the windows to the server room. The HR guy sees the blood and calls 911 for an ambulance and the cops. In his defense, there was a lot of blood on the guy's forehead. They are afraid to move him, and there is even some talk about turning off some of the noise. I just look at them like they are insane at that comment as I stand to the side and let the first aid trained HR guy handle the situation. The EMS guys arrive, declare it's safe to move him, and finally everyone is out of my server room. Then the cops arrive and have 100 questions, and I don't enjoy 99 of them. They lessen up the questions after I tell them it was all caught on camera, and they go off to HR to watch the replay. I explain that I think what happened was that the manager came back in and was looking for me. Instead of looking behind the racks, he was looking through them, and I just happened to catch him in the forehead with a server I was working on at the time. Then I had to explain how I didn't hit him with the server. He hit the server. It's not like I was watching to see someone get right at the correct spot before I pushed the server out of the rack. At this point, I'm certain most of the company thought I threw a server at the guy, or used it like a club to bludgeon him in the head. The cops come back by and tell me it appears to be a workplace accident, and thank me for my time. That works for me. I log into the camera system, pull up the camera for the front rack area and scroll back a bit to see what happened. I see me come around to the front, open the door, turn on the server and then head back to my workspace. The manager comes back in the server room, and leaned over looking through the server racks. I apparently had just gone behind the racks when he came in the door, because he looks through all the racks until he gets to the open door. He leans over, I see the server start to slide out. He hears or senses the movement, looks up straight into the server. I replay that bit a few times. It looks like he did it on purpose. But I've been told it's not safe to leave this guy out in the rain, if you know what I mean. I guess he knows why we don't let everyone into the server room now. And yes, I plan to finish the other mess I left.
Yes, strawberry fluff is an acceptable payment for on-site support.
We had a customer who since retired and closed his restaurant, but he was one of our favorites not just because he was a nice guy, but because he was down the street from our office and he was an amazing chef. He was the kind of guy that would get stressed and want to see things happen immediately, but he was always willing to pay. The year this happened had been a particularly rough for him, and we knew he was hurting financially. He always paid us something even if he was short on cash that month, but he always caught up. He had a grandchild that needed a lot of medical attention, so he was spending his money helping his daughter so she didn't have to work while the grandchild was getting the help he needed. He wasn't a saint, but he was close. His building is really old, in an historic part of town, and one of the older water pipes gets a leak and sprays on some of the computer hardware that's on the bar. He needs to replace this stuff but doesn't have cash on hand and doesn't want to wait for insurance. So he calls us. We have lots of demo hardware sent to us by manufacturers to test and certify, and often they never ask to have it sent back. We offer to let him use this stuff until he gets his finances sorted out. He also requests that we help him get all this set up, so we send him a proposal to sign with the estimated cost. He calls back and says he appreciates the hardware loan but can't afford to pay for setup, so he'll send his staff over and they'll pick it up and help him get it set up. We all feel pretty sorry for this guy since we know him well and we want him to succeed. I call him back and tell him that I'll do the setup for him for free since he's been a faithful customer for so many years. He won't accept free service and offers to deliver lunch for 10 with his amazing strawberry fluff dessert as payment when we're ready for it. Strawberry fluff is all I needed to hear. I go straight to the boss and it took him about 5 seconds to agree to the terms. I followed his employees back to the restaurant with the hardware he needed, set things up for them, and then scheduled our fantastic lunch for the next week. That strawberry fluff was the best payment we ever received. And #X200B. Edit. I've had a couple people ask what strawberry fluff is, and this is what it is to me. This was a pie with fluffy graham cracker crust of his own magical design, sliced strawberries and sliced pecans in a heavenly filling. And it was so fluffy, like the clouds the gods must sleep on. It was an experience that's hard to describe with mortal man's words. It was just sweet enough to tickle your dreams but let you eat 2 slices without feeling guilty. That first kiss from a new love, the gentle cooing of a newborn baby, that feeling that only grandma's hug can give, all rubbish compared to this. I dare say you'd sell your soul for another slice if that were the price being asked.
Nothing's wrong with the program, I just need someone to talk to.
I was on call and got a call in the middle of the night, maybe 15 years ago. I can't remember the customer or his name, but I can still hear his voice replaying his words. Nothing's wrong with the program, I just need someone to talk to. My best friend killed himself this morning. The pain and weight in his voice hit me like a boulder, and after a moment I finally squeaked out, "I'm sorry, man, let's talk." This was his best friend since high school, and he felt guilty because he knew his friend was hurting but didn't know how to help him and felt like he let him down. He unloads on me for a while and I just sit there in shock listening to this man pouring out his pain. I had no idea what to say to him. I'd never dealt with something like this, but I think all this guy wanted was an ear that would listen. I didn't have any advice or any words that could heal him. I just listened. At the end of the call he thanked me for listening and being there for him when he needed me. This was the last tech support call I've ever had, but I think it was the most meaningful one. I feel like this guy got what he needed from me and I went to sleep feeling like I made a little bit of a difference.
Fixed the system, got put in jail anyway.
Some years ago I forgot to pay a traffic ticket. Oops, and discovered that there was a bench warrant out for my arrest when I was pulled over, with my 2 older children in the car, and found my children getting a ride home in a police car. They thought it was cool, and I got a ride to the local jail. The cops were friendly, I was embarrassed and laughed at myself for being dumb. And then we got to the jail for in-processing, photos, fingerprints, and then the guards were struggling with the booking system. So these words came out of my mouth: "I work in IT, maybe I can help." They looked at each other, and had me lean in. I walked them through setting up their new printer, and then was escorted to my holding cell, until my wife was able to bail me out. The judge called me a bit of an idiot, I agreed, and paid the fine and court costs and towing and storage, about $1,000, and told the story at work, only to be reminded of the tech support creed: never ever ever give techs up. ORT outside of work, TLDR, helped fix jail computer system, got locked up anyway.
Which report shows why we're missing so many cases of liquor?
This was a local customer who, thanks to investors, had more money than brains and hired all his friends to manage some shops in a small high-end community. Every month one of the bars is showing thousands of dollars in losses of liquor and they just can't seem to figure it out. Since they're using our software for inventory management, they want us to tell them where all that liquor is going. Unfortunately, all we can do is show them receipts, sales, adjustments, and physical inventory. The losses all become evident at each physical inventory, so to me the obvious answer is that the liquor is walking out that door in large quantities and nobody is paying for it. The money guy scoffs at me and insists that there must be a software bug because there's no way that much inventory gets stolen without him seeing it. He believes that the liquor is being sold but just not recorded. Which of course in my mind should leave you with massive overages in your cash drawer, but sales from the POS very closely match the inventory numbers. So I agree to come out on a busy night and observe things to see if I can figure it out. What I observe is money guy at the bar getting drunk and flirting with the really hot bar manager. He stays in a stupor for the entire evening and can't possibly be keeping an eye on things. I ask some of the other employees if they've seen anything going on that might account for large quantities of missing liquor. One girl tells me that the manager's son often comes in and takes a case or two out the back. This is apparently common knowledge to the employees, and their understanding is that the manager's son is simply using the bar to get liquor at cost. The next afternoon I call money guy and explain what I was told. He speaks to the manager, who naturally assures him this isn't happening. I give him the name of the person I spoke with, and when he speaks with her she confirms and gives the names of several other employees who also confirm it. The police are called, and when this is all over, both the manager and her son are arrested. The son managed a small bar and was selling the stolen liquor to his bar. We earned a lot of trust because of this, and the money guy realized that getting drunk every night was probably making the liquor theft easier. Do you know what's a bad idea? White wallpapers.
$me. $I.T. Manager. $marketing manager. $design firm. Working in a two-man IT department for a $7 billion company. Marketing manager outsourced all the heavy lifting to a design firm. They didn't really do much but take credit. IT manager believed in insourcing, and that's what we AT did. They just did not get along due to philosophical differences. Marketing told me what they needed to ask $design firm to make a wallpaper. I advised resolution, file format, etc. It was made clear to me by IT manager my role was to do as little as possible, had bigger fish to fry than a wallpaper. So marketing sent me the image. I told them to put it in a Jira job, and I'd deploy it next time I did server patching on a weekend. As I could force restart workstations on a weekend, I was told all devices must have the wallpaper at the same time for consistency. The fateful weekend came around. I opened my Jira queue and got to work. I deployed the wallpaper, knowing it would take a bit of time to get deployed around all the workstations. After it was deployed, I realized the wallpaper was predominantly white. Do you know what else is white on a desktop? All the text on desktop icons. Beep 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 beep. Called marketing manager, no surprise she didn't answer, once again heavy lifting outsourced. Called IT manager, explained what happened. So you deployed the wallpaper, that marketing manager said must be done at the same time. You called marketing manager and she didn't answer. Not much else you can do. Just email me and Big Boss to cover your ass and we will direct all tickets to marketing on Monday. I could hear the glee in his voice. On Monday, marketing got a lot of tickets.
May your day be filled with joy and happiness. And please remember to like, share, and subscribe for more quality content every day.